Yes, dear student, today I'll be taking saving function. Yesterday we completed consumption function. Both consumption and saving depends upon income. That's why we say y is equal to c plus s. So when I'm saying consumption function, what it means, the factor over which the saving function, the factor over which saving depends. Both your consumption and saving depends upon income. So here also in saving function, what we are going to do, we are going to discuss the functional relationship between saving and income. But before moving to the saving function, let us have a brief definition of what is saving. Saving is that part of income which is not spent on consumption. Like yesterday, we study about y is equal to c plus s. It means that whatever income generated the economy, it is divided into two parts. A part of income which is used over the purchase of goods and services is called consumption, and rest is saved and further converted into investment. That's why further we will go for s is equal to I. So this saving is converted into investment. So the part of income which is not spent, which is not consumed, is called saving. So how we can derive saving? S is equal to y minus c. This is the derivation of saving from consumption. If you have been given income and consumption, what you have to do? Y minus c is equal to s. Now coming to the another definition, in other words, saving is the excess of income over consumption. After consumption, what left is called saving. And what saving function talks about? It talks about the functional relationship between saving and income. Means how the saving depends upon income. Let us see. Right, first we are going how to derive savings from consumption, or how to derive saving function from consumption function. This is a possible question in the board, either of 4 marks or of 6 marks. What will be question? Explain the derivation of saving function from consumption function. So first you will have to develop the consumption function which already you have studied in consumption function. What it says, even if income is 0, consumption can't be 0. Income increases, consumption also increases, and after a certain level, income becomes more than consumption because economy starts saving. Now you are having this consumption function, and from this how you will derive saving function, because we know y is equal to c plus s. Therefore s is equal to y minus c. So y minus c, 0 minus 15 minus 15, 10 minus 20 minus 10, 20 minus 25 minus 5, 30 minus 30 0, and 40 minus 35 plus 5. Now this is how, with the help of schedule, you can explain the derivation of saving function from consumption function. Now after this, what you find out of this schedule? First thing, saving can be negative, 0 and positive, which is not possible in terms of consumption. Consumption neither can be 0 nor can be negative. Consumption is always positive, but savings can be negative, 0 and positive. Savings will be negative when consumption is more than income. Savings will be 0 when income is equal to consumption, and savings is positive when income is more than consumption. So if you have been asked under what circumstances savings are negative? When consumption is more than income. Under what circumstances savings are 0? When income is equal to consumption. And under what circumstances savings are positive? When consumption is less than income. So here it is written, savings are negative when c is greater than y. Savings are 0 when c is equal to y. And this is also known as break-even point. It means the point where saving is 0 is known as break-even point. And what happens at that point when saving is 0? Consumption function intersects the income line. C is equal to y. And savings are positive when income is more than consumption, or consumption is less than income. As income increases, what happens to the savings? Savings also increases. With the increase in income, savings are also increases. So what is the relation between income and saving? Direct. So what is the slope of the saving curve? It will be upward sloping. Why saving curve is upward sloping? Because income and saving have direct relation. That's why saving curve is upward sloping. Now same we can show with the help of diagram. This is very important from exam point of view. This comes regularly. Explain the diagrammatic derivation of saving function from consumption function. So first we will draw in the first diagram what consumption function, that you know very well. This is our consumption function. What it says, even if income is 0, consumption can't be 0. That's why it starts from any point of y-axis. Why? Because even income is 0, consumption can't be 0. As income increases, consumption also increases. That's why it is upward sloping. And why it is a straight line? Because its slope determined by MPC, which remain constant. Right? This is your consumption function. It starts from any point of y-axis. Initially, consumption is more than income. And at a point consumption is equal to income, and after that point consumption is less than income. From this we will derive saving function. See here, when your consumption is at 0 level, this is at 0 level of income, the consumption is OC. So during that time your savings are negative. How much? OS. So OC is equal to OS. So this OC is called autonomous consumption, and this OS, negative savings, is called dis savings. What is that? Dis savings. So it means that your autonomous consumption is always equals to dis savings. If your autonomous consumption is 10, so your dis savings will be minus 10. So autonomous consumption equals to dis savings. Till your consumption is more than income. See here. Here is the consumption function. Till your consumption is more than income, your savings remains negative. Here you see. Right? Savings remain negative. The point where income is equal to consumption. The point where income is equal to consumption. Here in the schedule C. Income is equal to consumption. How much is the saving? 0. So same in the diagram also. The point where here income is equal to consumption. This is also known as break-even point. What happens? Savings is 0. See here. Savings is 0. And afterwards what happens? Income is more than consumption. And if income is more than consumption, what will happen to the savings? See here. When income is more than consumption, savings is positive, and that's why here this savings is positive. So this is how from consumption curve we can derive saving curve, or from consumption function we can derive saving function. Once again, what is the amount of autonomous consumption? Same is the amount of dis savings. Till consumption is more than income, savings is negative. The point where income is equal to consumption, savings are 0. And further, when consumption is less than income or income is more than consumption, savings are positive. What is the slope of saving curve? Upward sloping. Why it is upward sloping? Because as income increases, savings also increases. And the curve is like consumption function, straight line. Here also saving function is straight line. Why? Like consumption function, the slope get determined by MPC. Here the slope get determined by MPS, marginal propensity to save. That we'll discuss further. And when we calculate MPS and marginal propensity to save, it remain constant. That's why the slope of saving function is upward sloping straight line. This is how we derived from consumption function the saving function. Now here is the explanation. We can derive saving function from consumption function. In the diagram, CC is the consumption curve and the 45-degree line OY represent income. Why income at 45 degree? Because Y is equal to C plus S. Consumption at 0 level of income is equals to OC. At 0 level of income, your consumption is OC, right? That is called autonomous consumption. The amount of saving is indicated by vertical distance between consumption curve and income line. So savings at zero level of income will be OS, that is minus OC. This is the negative saving. So this OC is equal to OS. OC is positive because it is autonomous consumption, and this OS is negative. So this savings are negative and autonomous consumption is positive. OC is equal to OS, right? Or you can say minus OC. It means that saving curve will start from the point S on the negative y-axis. Why it is starting at point S and negative, you can say y-axis, because where the autonomous consumption is, the savings are negative. CC intersect OY at point E, where savings are 0. This is point E, Y is equal to C. Income is equal to consumption, where savings are 0. Then beyond E point, consumption is less than income, therefore savings are positive. Now if you go up, see, beyond that point, your consumption is less than income or income is more than consumption, and that's why your savings are positive. This is how we can derive saving function from consumption function. Just opposite now. How to derive consumption function? We know y is equal to C plus S. So therefore C is equal to y minus S. Just we are going reverse. If you have got savings and income, you can derive consumption. You can calculate consumption. How? C is equal to y minus S. Here we are doing C. Income is given, savings is given. Now what we are deriving? Consumption. How? C is equal to y minus S. So y is 0. 0 minus minus 15 plus 15. 10 minus minus 10 plus 20. 20 minus minus 5 plus 25, 30 minus 0, 30, 40 minus 5, 35. This is how we derive consumption function from saving function. So it is both way. From saving consumption function, we can derive saving function, and now here from saving function, we are deriving consumption function. If you go with the help of diagram, see here. Initially what happens? Saving remains negative, right? So what is OS? This is dis savings, and total dis savings is equal to total autonomous consumption. This OS is equal to OC bar, autonomous consumption. And as savings are negative, till savings are negative, consumption is more than income. This we know. Savings are negative. What it indicates? Consumption is more than income. And as savings, negative savings are decreasing. That's why this consumption curve is coming closer to income curve. And the point where your savings are 0 means consumption is equal to income. And afterwards, your savings are positive, and savings will be positive when consumption is less than income. So from this saving curve, you can derive consumption curve here, and just opposite from consumption curve, this is here, we can derive saving curve. These are the two very important questions from the board point of view. Okay, you have to go both way. How to derive saving function from consumption function? It means if the consumption curve is given, you can develop saving curve from it. And if saving curve is given, you can develop consumption curve from it. So this is all about how to derive saving function from consumption function or consumption function from saving function. Explanation: initially savings are negative here. So consumption is more than income. At point E, savings are 0. That's why C is equal to Y here. And then after point E, here, after point E, savings are positive. That's why C is Y less than Y. Now, propensity to save, like propensity to consume. What we do in propensity to consume? We establish the relation between consumption and income. In propensity to save, we are going to develop the relation between saving and income. Here also we'll develop two type of relation between saving and income. One, the relation between total saving and total income. Other, the relation between change in saving due to change in income. It is same like propensity to consume. There we establish first relation between total consumption and total income. What we call it? APC, average propensity to consume. Here we are going to develop the relation between total saving and total income. What we will call it? APS, average propensity to save. Propensity to save establishes the relation between saving and income. It is of two types. When we develop the relation or ratio between total saving and total income, that is called APS. If I say APS is 0.5, what it means? In the economy, people are saving 50% of their total income. If the income of the economy is 100 crore and your APS is 0.5, it means 50% of 100 crore means 50 crore the economy is saving. So APS talks about the percentage of income saved in an economy. If your income is 1 crore and your APS is 0.6, it means 60%, 60 lakh of 1 crore is saved. So how much expenditure on consumption is? 40 crores, right? So therefore, APS tells us the amount of saving out of income in terms of percentage. Here is the example how we calculate APS, the way we calculate APC. APS is equal to ratio between total saving and total income. Here in this schedule, we have got income and saving and we have calculated the APS. First case, APS. S is minus 10 and Y is 10. Minus 10 divided by 10 minus 1. Right? Then minus 5 divided by 20 minus 0.25. Then 0 divided by 30 is 0. And then plus 5 divided by 40, 0.125. Now if you look into this APS, see its character. APS can be negative. APS can be 0. APS can be positive. So if you get 1 mark question, can APS be negative? Give reason. Yes, APS can be negative. This APS is negative when your savings are negative, and savings are negative when consumption is more than income. So in the economy, when consumption is more than income, what will happen to your savings? Savings will be negative. And when your savings will be negative, what will happen to APS? It will be negative. Can APS 0? Yes, APS can be 0. See here. APS 0. When APS 0? When your savings is 0. Savings can be 0. Yes, when income is equal to consumption. When your income is equal to consumption, savings is 0. And when savings is 0, your APS will be 0. APS can be positive? Yes, APS can be positive. When savings are positive, and savings will be positive when income is more than consumption. So because of three relations between income and consumption, APS have got three character. When consumption is more than income, savings are negative, APS is negative. When income is equal to consumption, savings are 0, APS is 0. And when income is more than consumption, savings are positive. That's why APS is positive. So therefore, APS can be negative, APS can be 0, or APS can be positive. See here. As income increases, APS also increases. See here. Minus 1, minus 0.25, 0, plus 0.125. APS can be negative. Yes. When C is greater than Y, okay, or APS is greater than 1. APS can be 0 when C is equal to Y, when APS is equal to 1. Or APS can never be more than 1 because savings can never be equal or more than income. So, what is the character of APS? APS can be negative, APS can be 0, or APS can be positive. This is the character of APS. Now, this is the explanation of APS with the help of diagram. This is the explanation. Now see, we have taken the consumption saving curve. Saving curve is, it is negative, right? And it is 0 and it is positive. This is the character of saving function. Saving function, saving can be negative, saving can be 0, or saving can be positive. Now if we calculate APS at point A, so what we'll see, APS is equal to S by Y. So look at point A, total savings is equal to this is the total savings. How much? OR. So total savings is equal to OR. And total income, this is the total income, O or 0, Y, 1. This is 0, Y, 1. So APS is equal to, on this point A, S by Y, where S is equal to OR and Y is equal to OY, 1. This is how you will explain the concept of APS with the help of diagram. First, what you will do, you will draw a saving function. You know, initially savings is negative, 0 and positive, and then at any point you can calculate the saving and you can calculate the income, that equals to APS. Now moving to the next, that is MPS. MPS is same like MPC. In marginal propensity to consume, what we are discussing, change in consumption due to change in income. Here what we calculate, change in saving due to change in income. Right? So what is that? MPS is equal to delta S by delta Y. So if I say MPS is 0.5, what it means? The 50% of the increased income has been consumed in the economy. Sorry, has been saved in the economy. If I say MPS is 0.5, what it means? The 50% of the increased income has been saved in the economy, only 50% has been consumed. If your MPS is high, what will be the effect on MPC? It will be low. If your MPS is 90%, what is your MPC? 10%. So if any economy indicates high rate of MPS, it means in that economy MPC is quite low. Many times this MPC get affected by the interest rate. If bank is offering very good interest rate over the deposits, what people will do? People will go for more savings or more consumption? They will go for more consumption. So whatever increase in their income, its big part they will save. What will happen? MPC is going to increase. As a result, MPC will decrease. So how we calculate MPC? Change in saving due to change in income, delta S by delta Y. Let us look into this schedule. This is the previous schedule. Now here first we'll calculate change in saving. From minus 15 to minus 10, 5. Minus 10 to minus 5, 5. Minus 5 to 0, 5. And 0 to plus 5, 5. This is a change in savings. Now change in income, 10 to 20, 10. 0 to 10, 10. 20 to 30, 10. And 30 to 40, 10. And now we'll calculate MPS. What is that? Delta S, 5 divided by 10, 0.5. 5 divided by 10, 0.5, 5 divided by 10, 0.5 and 5 divided by 10, 0.5. So what is the character of MPS here? Constant. And that's why your saving curve is not only upward sloping, it is also a straight line. It is upward sloping because saving and income have direct relation. अगर income बढ़ रही है तो saving भी बढ़ रही है. And why it is a straight line like this? Why not having the curve? Because the MPS is remain constant. That's why it is upward sloping straight line. So what we learn about MPS? What is the character of MPS from this schedule? We find the value of MPS always lies between 0 and 1. MPS neither can be less than 0 or more than 1 because delta S can't be more than delta Y. If your increased income is 10 crore, maximum how much you can save? 10 crore only. अगर आपकी इनकम 10 करोड़ बड़ी है तो आप मैक्सिमम कितना सेव कर सकते हो? 10 करोड़. 10 करोड़ से ज्यादा सेव कर ही नहीं सकते हो. So delta S cannot be more than delta Y. So that's why MPS cannot be greater than 1. So what is the maximum value of MPS? 1. Under what circumstances? When delta S is equal to delta Y. It is a situation in which suppose the increase in income is of 10 crore and increase in saving also 10 crore. It means out of that 10 crore nothing has been consumed. All entire increase in income is converted into savings. Then only delta S is equal to delta Y. And what will be the maximum value of MPS? 1. Right? And it cannot be more than 1 because delta S can't be more than delta Y. And delta S cannot be negative. If your income is increasing, what maximum possible? The change in delta S may be 0. Why? When? If suppose income increases by 10 crore and entire 10 crore has been consumed, what is the value of delta S? 0. Because all income increase has been converted into consumption. Your delta S is 0. And if your delta S is 0, what will the value of MPS? 0. So what is the minimum value of MPS? 0. Under what circumstances? When delta S is 0. And what is the maximum value of MPS? 1. Under what circumstances? When delta S is equal to delta Y. If delta S is equal to delta Y, MPS is equal to 1. If delta S is equal to 0, it means all increased income has been consumed. Entire additional income is consumed. What will happen? MPS is 0. The MPS is high in case of rich people. The rich people MPS is high because they have got high income, so they save more. Poor people have low income. So big portion of their income is spent over consumption. So they do more consumption. That's why their MPC is less. And the rich people MPS is high. The poor people MPS is low. Why? Because they save less of the increased income. Maximum they convert into consumption. Whereas in case of rich people, they save big portion of their increased income, and that's why their MPS is high. Now the explanation with the help of diagram. See here. This is your consumption function. Saving function. Initially saving is negative and then 0 and then positive. Because of the direct relation between saving and income, it is upward sloping. Very simple. It is straight line because who determine the slope? MPS, which remain constant. Just we have seen MPS remain constant. That's why it is upward sloping straight line. Now when we move from point B on a saving function to point A, what will be the MPS at point A? Is equal to change in saving from B point to A point. How much change? Here is the change RP, right? Or PR. Same it is. This is the change PR, or you say RP. This is the change in savings. And here this is a change in income. How much? Y1, Y2. So when in the saving function we move from point A to point B to A, at point A the MPS is equal to delta S by delta Y. This is the delta S equals to PR, and this is the delta Y equals to Y1, Y2. This is how we can show MPS. This is how we can show MPS with the help of diagram. This is all for today. Today we worked over what is saving function, how we derive saving function from consumption function, how we derive consumption function from saving function, and what is propensity to save, what is APS, and what is MPS. Thank you.